I already said, Marab gets 10 title defenses. I'm getting a Georgian flag tattooed on me, guys. We're all gonna be watching this.
One-handed.
One-handed, 3D glasses on.
Welcome back, guys. I'm your host, the bad guy. Here with me, my co-host, the worst guy.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Brother, who these guys? Who are you on MMA YouTube? Dude, okay. I can't play it up enough. This fight coming up next weekend might be the best card since UFC 300.
No, it definitely is. This is like White House level stuff. Just absolute bangers.
From the prelims, this fight is absolutely stacked.
Yeah, I've never seen a fight deliver, even with the women's fights. So,
Whoa. Mackenzie Dern did just fight.
Yeah, that's true. That one delivered. That one delivered.
Alright, the main event, Islam Makhachev will be moving up to 170 pounds for his double champ belt, fighting Jack Della Maddalena. This is probably the biggest fight of the year. What do you think of this fight?
Yeah, super huge fight. I understand why there's so much hype around it. Jack Della Maddalena is on a huge winning streak. He lost his first 2 fights ever in his MMA career, hasn't lost since then. Islam Makhachev, he had that loss in the beginning of his UFC career, and then he's never lost since. Both in huge win streaks, both really talented guys. Islam moving up. There's a lot of questions about whether he's big enough to be in this division, what the power will be like. I think he's going to do really well personally, and I am picking Islam Makhachev to win this fight.
If he does win this fight, is Islam nearing GOAT status in the sport?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if he wins this fight, he wins this fight and then he beats like a Ilia Topuria, which looks like probably will be next. Like the UFC is talking about,
I disagree. I think Makhachev, honestly, okay, first off, I have to agree with you. I think Makhachev is going to win this fight. But I truly just don't see a world where he fights Topuria. I think they fumbled that fight. And I think if Makhachev's career is going to persist, it's going to be him defending the 170 belt.
Yeah, well, either way, even if he just stays in welterweight, whatever, and what if like Ilya moves to welterweight? You never know. Like that.
What if he has the density max severely?
He claims he walks around at like 200. So like let's see if he actually can.
Is he the daddest man on the planet?
Yeah, maybe. But like, let's say Islam stays in, whatever. He's fighting a welterweight. He defends against another welterweight. Who will be next? Like maybe like I don't know, Ian Gary, Shavkat Rakhmonov,
Sean Brady.
Sean Brady. Either one of those defenses will literally make him a GOAT, in my opinion. I think that he will reach GOAT status.
The thing is, though, we're talking like he's already won the 170 belt, which he hasn't. And Jack Della Maddalena, he's far from an underdog in this fight. I think he's going to give Islam his hardest test yet.
I disagree. I think Islam is one of those guys where it's like it's an eventuality when you watch him fight.
I disagree.
There's these guys that there's these guys you watch that you just know. When you watch them, they're winning, bro. It's like Floyd Mayweather in boxing. There was, there's Alexander Usyk. It's like whatever the stats are, they're gonna win. So you might as well put your money on that guy.
The thing is, though, Islam's never been really tested by a guy who's bigger than him. And going up 15 pounds, the jump from lightweight to welterweight is a pretty big jump. And, Islam's career, although it has been great, and he is the greatest lightweight of all time, he's had some title defenses against guys who weren't true lightweights. Like, Renato Moicano is not the best win ever. He's fought 2 featherweights, that being Volkanovski twice, and old man Dustin Poirier, who still gave him some trouble. So I think Islam Makhachev's resume is padded, and this test with Jack Della is going to be his biggest test.
See, I'm going to have to disagree. I think the featherweights are a lot more skilled. When they come up to lightweight, they usually win the belt there. So I think those wins are better than fighting a lot. I get what you mean because they're smaller guys and because of the size discrepancy. But that Islam Makhachev, he was probably greatly hindered by that weight cut fighting at lightweight. So we've probably not seen the best of Islam Makhachev, and even him not fighting at his best, which he definitely wasn't. Nobody fights at their best having to cut 30 plus pounds. He's looked mighty damn impressive, and he's training with guys that are huge. We've heard stories of in the gym. Those are just stories. We always hear them, but how he like ragdolls Bilal Muhammad and he ragdolls guys that are 185 plus. I don't buy the fact that Jack Metal. Looking at them, Islam looks bigger than Jack Della Maddalena. I don't think that I don't really buy the fact that him moving up is going to be that big of an issue for him.
Yeah, I mean, Islam is good, and I think this is kind of the duality to his lightweight cut. Like you said, the weight cut definitely hinders him, and I think welterweight Makhachev is going to be the best Makhachev we've ever seen. He's got the lighter man skill. He's density max, dude. I know you've seen that, but for our viewers out there, if you've seen the Instagram videos of this guy grappling on the beach, he looks stacked. He has seriously been hitting the weights, bulking up to welterweight. And I think in this fight with Jack Della at a bigger weight class, we're going to see the best Makhachev. And that's what makes this fight so great.
Yeah, I'm just going to put this out there right now. I know we massively disagree on this point, but my point is going to be that this fight will not even be close. I'm saying Islam Makhachev is going to dominate Jack Della Maddalena. So come back to this video after the fight, see if I'm right, because I guarantee you I'm going to be right.
Wow. I think it's going to be close. I mean, Jack Della's got some really good skills. Obviously, he's been training grappling with Craig Jones, and although he's not like some submission expert like Makhachev, who is probably the best submission expert in the UFC right now, other than like Charles Oliveira, but Jack Della, he's got some crafty escapes on the bottom. He's really good at scrambling and getting back up to his feet. We saw it against Gilbert Burns. We saw it against Bilal Muhammad. Bilal Muhammad is a very good wrestler. Not Makhachev level wrestler, but a very good wrestler. And, Jack was giving him problem. He was stuffing the takedowns. He was doing crafty escapes. So I think it just all comes down to when Makhachev gets him to the ground. Not if, when Makhachev gets him to the ground. Because Makhachev is probably the best grappler in MMA right now.
Dude, and also there is even an argument to be made with the lighter man skill, the speed, whatever, the power. Islam might be just as good as JDM on the feet as well. Like people would want to act like if this fight stays standing, Makhachev can't even hang. But Bilal was hanging with JDM, so Islam Makhachev is massively more skilled than Bilal on the feet. Has way better defensive technique, way better head movement, way better kicking ability. So, don't be surprised if Islam gets the better of the striking exchanges as well.
Yeah, you make a very good point that Bilal was able to hang in there with Jack Della, but I think you forget that Bilal has Canelo hands, and I just don't really... Obviously, Makhachev is a phenomenal striker, but he's had his moments as well, Old man Dustin Poirier was piecing him up for a round, he was on retirement's door in that fight, He struggled against Volkanovski, obviously like the greatest featherweight of all time who has lighterman skill and moving up, but still, he got pieced up by Volkanovski a few times. I think Jack Della will really... It's why this fight is such a test for him, because Jack Della's strikes can definitely get to Makhachev. It's how he weathers it, against a bigger kind of bully guy at the heavier weight class.
I also want to point out, though, in the Dustin Poirier fight, it was like a 4-1 going into the 5th round. Islam Makhachev had staph infection going into that fight, which is not talked about enough. A staph infection and plus the weight cut, whatever, and he outstruck Dustin Poirier as well as outgrappled him and finished Dustin Poirier in the 5th round. So I don't think that was that because he was cut, people want to make it like, oh, this was like a dog fight. This was super close. It was like it was not really close. This was a clear victory for Islam Makhachev.
Do you think that this fight with Makhachev versus JDM is the greatest double champ fight of all time?
Yeah, I definitely think it's up there. I'm trying to think now of some of the other ones. Obviously you had
Jones
McGregor
versus Gane.
coming up. Yeah, you got McGregor fighting Eddie Alvarez way long ago. Jones fighting Gane.
DC with
this is definitely bigger.
DC with Stipe. I mean,
yeah.
Do you think John Jones threw that fight against Cyril Gane? Or I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do you think Cyril Gane threw that fight against John Jones?
Yeah, I think the lights kind of got to him there probably. But back to the main point, yeah, this is definitely up there as one of definitely the most skilled, the most skilled double champ fight that we've definitely had in a very long time, if not ever.
both these guys are just, fantastic. Jack Della's got some great striking. Both Islam and Jack Della have been undefeated for X amount of years. And this fight is really, this is some great matchmaking by the UFC, because this fight is really make or break for one of these fighters. Whoever walks out of this fight will definitely, be reaching more towards GOAT status, because, Jack Della defending against Islam, that's not an easy title defense, versus Islam beating Jack Della and becoming a double champ. Like, both of those outcomes result in some kind of GOAT status.
Yeah, and also, like, when you were talking about, Islam Makhachev's record, it's like, yeah, surely maybe his title defenses are not all against lightweights, but when you look at his record and the fights he's had at lightweight, like, look at the top, like, 5, actually, look at the top 10. He's basically cleared out everybody at that top. He's already beat Dan Hooker easily. He's already beat Arman Sarukian. He's already beat, Renato Moicano. He's already beat Charles Oliveira. He beat all of these guys. So it's like, who's next? Oh, he has to fight Justin Gaethje to be, now he's fought a real, now he's fought a real lightweight. You got to fight Justin Gaethje. That will be really close. It's like, no, his record speaks for himself. He's the best lightweight on the planet of all time, and now he's moving up, and I think he's gonna absolutely destroy JDM in welterweight.
To be real, though, you were mentioning those guys for the title fight, but the best title defense for Makhachev ever, you could say, oh, this guy's a featherweight who moved up, but it's Ilia Topuria. I mean, who's now a double champion in Makhachev's division. Like, that fight, it has a certain aura behind it as well.
Yeah, that's kind of that. If that ever gets made, that's the biggest fight. Like, besides for Khabib McGregor, it's gonna be the biggest fight ever in the UFC.
I agree.
But anyways, like on the, we have like a lot of actual fights that have already been made in this card. So
yeah, talking about some great double champ fights. Thug Weili versus Valentina Shevchenko could be the greatest women's fight ever. You know how I feel about Zhang Weili. I think she's a thug from China. Like, not probably. She is the best women's strawweight ever, and she is good. So moving up against the GOAT of women's 125, this is another banger fight.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is going to be a really good fight, really high-skilled fight. I'm picking Weili Zhang to win this fight, just because I think she has like a slight speed advantage. Lighter women's skill in this case. She's moving up. She's on a really Valentina Shevchenko. She, in her last few performances, she's looked a little bit more stiff than she used to look back in the day, and that may be because she's now 37 years old. Zhang Weili is also 36, but what I'm saying is Valentina Shevchenko has looked a little bit more stiff than Zhang, so I'm gonna go with Zhang.
This is just such a good fight because it's also like two GOATs of their division are facing off. Like, Weili's the GOAT of 115, Shevchenko's the GOAT of 125. Well, debatable, but I mean, just going head to head on a card with another double championship fight, like, this card is truly something special. You don't see these kind of things often.
Yeah, don't you ever mention GOAT without mentioning the actual GOAT, Amanda Nunes. Brazil.
No bias, of course.
No bias.
Amanda Nunes versus Kayla Harrison is another great women's fight, but I think that this fight, Zhang Weili versus Valentina Shevchenko, has potential to be one of the greatest women's fights of all time.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. This is going to be a super high-skilled, super high-paced, I think, also fight. I think this has the potential to be a really, like, a banger, so I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, this fight is loaded. Not only is this fight loaded, but the rest of this card is also freaking loaded. At the top of the main card, Sean Brady is facing Michael Morales in probably what is the #1 contender matchup. This fight, I don't even know where to start. What do you think of this fight?
Sean Brady?
Sean Brady.
Yeah, Sean Brady. Yeah, he's going to win. Yeah, no, sorry, I got distracted there for a little bit. Yeah, Sean Brady, I think the grappling advantage slides on the Sean Brady side. Michael Morales is really good at striking. He has, like, really good Muay Thai. He's a great striker. He has good boxing. He's a tough guy as well.
Not even to mention the jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, no, he's good at grappling as well. He's a good grappler. But Sean Brady, when it comes to getting the takedown across, like pressure, relentless pressure and pace, um, yeah, I think Sean Brady is just gonna be in Michael Morales' face, and I see him winning like a decision.
Yeah, hot take. But right now, in the state of welterweight, I think Sean Brady is scarier than Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Yeah, I mean, Shavkat Rakhmonov like is one of those guys that you almost forget because he hasn't fought in so long. And his name hasn't really been in the discussion for like a while now. But yeah, Sean Brady right now, he's looking like a little bit of a boogeyman.
To be honest, like, who does what Sean Brady did to Leon Edwards? Who does that? If he,
Who does what Bilal did to Sean Brady?
yeah, Bilal's only TKO victory in the UFC.
Yeah.
But to be real, like, Sean Brady's on a tear right now, and Michael Moraes, although he is undefeated and he's the great striker, I've got Sean Brady winning this fight, probably by submission. I think Sean Brady's just going to take him down, and he's going to do what he does best, advance and get the submission win over Michael Morales. I think he's too much of a one-dimensional striker, and Sean Brady's just really going to expose some holes in his game.
I think though we have to say if Michael Morales somehow wins this fight, well not somehow, because this is not even like that wide of a fight, but I think if Michael Morales wins this fight, he's gonna be 19-0. It's like we're gonna have to start having some real conversations about this guy getting like a number one contenders match like very soon. Because
Yeah,
to be, he's 18-0 right now, like on an absolute tear. Sean Brady also like 18-1, like pretty crazy records going up against each other. So
the thing with this
definitely a good
fight,
matchup.
it's not like a guaranteed number one contender match because it's based on who wins or loses. Like, if Sean Brady goes out there and he beats Michael Morales, then it's a number one contenders matchup. Like, he's going to fight for the belt next, obviously. But if Michael Morales does the funniest thing and, beats Sean Brady, taking his hype train, I don't think he'll fight for the title next. I think the UFC will give him one more, something like Shavkat or Kamaru Usman, before they actually give him the belt shot. So this fight it's kind of split on being the quote unquote number one contender match.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. I think either way, I think likely like the next. I think whoever wins this fight, I think it's likely that they're gonna have to still fight one more time to get a title shot, even if it is Sean Brady. I know he carries a lot of hype, but I'm gonna say, they're gonna be looking at Ian Gary versus Bilal. If Ian Gary wins that fight, I'm like 99% sure that like if Shavkat doesn't come back, it's gonna be Ian Gary fighting for the belt.
I don't know, because
Um,
do you know what else is the crazy thing? Is that also on this card, there's another number one contenders matchup. That being Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates.
yeah, but both of these guys are coming off like, well, Prates won his last fight. Leon Edwards did not. Um, I don't. These guys are not looking like they're anywhere near a title shot right now. Well, Prates is statistically probably closer to a title shot than Leon Edwards, even though the rankings might not say that. I think like if you're thinking like Dana White and the UFC and like from a fan perspective, it would be more likely for Carlos Prates to be getting a title shot in the near future at
Yeah.
least with like another 2 wins than Leon Edwards.
I think Carlos Prates and Ian Gary are kind of in the same boat right now. Although, Ian Gary beat Carlos Prates, so he's got that over him. But I think they have the same probability of getting the title shot as one another. They're both good for the division. Like, welterweight is so stacked. That's why this division is awesome, because you don't know who's going to get the shot next, because there's just so many killers in that division. But I think Prates and Ian Gary are in a very similar boat right now. They're both marketable. They're both good, but they have that little stain on their record. It's kind of like a three-way game. Like, Gary beat Prates, Shavkat beat Gary, so that's the kind of thing.
Yeah, and let's not forget Prates was so close to a finish in that Ian Gary fight in the last round, and I was kind of gutted to see Carlos Prates lose in that way, but Ian Gary is a very skilled fighter, so I wouldn't be mad at all to see Ian Gary get a title shot.
The,
So
the thing is, though, he was getting pieced up for 4 rounds by Ian Gary.
yeah, no, definitely, absolutely, it was brilliance from Ian Gary,
He was
so
schooling
it was
him.
definitely deserved. Yeah.
We've already introduced it, but can we talk about the other number one contenders fight? on this card, that being Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a really good fight. Carlos Prates has definitely a power advantage. I would say Leon Edwards is a bit of a decision merchant, even though people want to act like headshot dead. Like he did that one time after getting pieced up for 4 rounds. Actually, 5 rounds. He was getting pieced up even in that last round up until it's like, yeah, then he beat Kamaru Usman again, but it was a decision. And then like a bunch of other decisions that he barely won. And yeah, I'm gonna favor Carlos Prates because I just really want Carlos Prates to win. So there's my bias there. But I also think that Carlos Prates is a little bit more dynamic in the striking. Like just Leon Edwards, a bread and butter type of guy where he sticks to the fundamentals and it's very good. He's a very good striker. It works really well for him because he has good fight IQ. But Carlos Prates, he's gonna go in there and make it a real fight, and he has a real potential to starch Leon Edwards.
The thing is, though, I think people are sleeping on Leon Edwards into this fight. To be real, Prates and Edwards, they're both great strikers, but the thing is, Leon Edwards lost his last fight to Sean Brady, who's the great grappler, he's got the great wrestling, the great submissions. But I think Leon Edwards, he's an underrated grappler, just not against, other grapplers. I would not be surprised going into this fight with Carlos Prates if Leon Edwards, tries to push the grappling to slow Prates down and really, picks him apart piece by piece and dismantles his fight style.
Well, it's going to be also really interesting to see if Carlos Prates has worked on his grappling at all if Leon Edwards decides to shoot, which I think if Leon finds himself in a bad position in the striking, which with Carlos Prates is likely, yeah, we could probably see a shot or two being shot by Leon Edwards. And if Prates defends them, then we'll have our answer. We're going to be like, oh, maybe he has some takedown defense now and brings him to a whole other level. If he gets taken down and smushed, then I'm completely wrong. And, maybe fraud check part 2.
Do you think that this is like too high level of competition for Carlos Prates? Because, he lost to Ian Gary and he since got the great knockout with the spinning back elbow against Jeff Neal. But going up to Leon Edwards, who was a good former champion, he had some defenses under his belt. Obviously, he's just a decision merchant. But he's still, Leon Edwards. He's still a great fighter. Do you think that Prates is biting off more than he can chew here?
I'm picking Carlos Prates to win this fight, so no, I don't think he's biting off more than he could chew. I think this is exactly, it's a super high-level matchup. Could be a really close fight. I think it's a really entertaining fight, and I think it's great matchmaking, and I think Carlos Prates is winning, so I don't think it's too much he can handle, and I'm picking him to win.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. I've got Leon Edwards winning this fight. I think Edwards, like I said, he's going to dismantle Prates' game and just really chip away at him in the way that he wants to fight and probably get the decision victory.
Traitor. All I have to say.
Another great matchmaking fight on this card. It might be the craftiest vet matchmaking of all time. It's BSD versus BENEIL DAIRUSH. What do you think of this fight?
Yeah, this fight is going to be a banger. Two guys who are really good at the grappling department. BENEIL DAIRUSH, I think, has an advantage in the striking just because he's a little bit more technical. I think he's got a little bit more pop. Where Benoit Saint Denis, he's got pop, but he's a little bit slow. He's a little bit stiff like a board, and he kind of just comes forward looking for that takedown. So I can see somewhere in that transition, BENEIL DAIRUSH landing a big shot and sending him down, kind of like Dustin Poirier. And I think a lot of this fight, I can see this fight also being quite a boring fight, where it's just like a smudge fest against the cage. But yeah, I'm going to pick BENEIL DAIRUSH to win this fight, just because I think grappling-wise, they're pretty similar. Only Benoit Saint Denis has more pressure in his grappling, but I don't see his jiu-jitsu being that much higher levels than BENEIL DAIRUSH. And then in the striking, yeah, BENEIL DAIRUSH strikes Benoit Saint Denis. So
you see, I know this fight. I agree with you. I think it's going to be probably boring. A decision merchant victory for these two unks. But BSD, he's kind of got the hype train right now. You know, he got the win over Rufy, you know, kind of exposed his game, showed that he's got that technical level of skill. But BENEIL DAIRUSH is also good. This is kind of like another rock paper scissors fight with the clashing of the matchmaking. You know, this is Battle of the Unks. This one's kind of hard to pick, but if I had to pick, I'm gonna go with BSD in this fight.
I think it's really good matchmaking, as you said, and like I said, it's like this has the potential to be a pretty boring fight. But BENEIL DAIRUSH is like one of these guys that you almost kind of forget about how good he is because, he doesn't have like these like crazy like high name wins that are like out of nowhere. He just beat Renato Moicano, which was really impressive. But he doesn't have these like, Benoit Saint Denis will beat Mauricio Rufy, who is like super hyped up, and like that obviously raises his stock a lot. But then you kind of forget about some of the times that Benoit Saint Denis has been outmatched, and like his loss to Dustin Poirier, which he was winning that fight. Dustin Poirier was kind of just goofing off of the guillotines and then knocked him out. And you kind of forget sometimes that Benoit Saint Denis is kind of reckless in his approach and just doesn't have the best fight IQ. He's kind of like a one-trick pony, and BENEIL DAIRUSH is a really well-rounded guy, so it's going to be really tricky.
Yeah, although this fight may be a snooze fest, it deserves to be on the card over Bo Nickal. How is Bo Nickal on the main card over some of these fights, dude? What is Dana White smoking?
Well, he's not on the main card right now, so he's in the prelim.
It's good. It's good they demoted him down, but they were smoking something when they put him on the main card.
Yeah, I get it. Just from like oh, Bo Nickal's the super. We've been told that Bo Nickal has a huge audience. We've been told that Bo Nickal.
It's false. It's like Topuria.
And it's yeah. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I'm pretty sure every single person that I've talked to about Bo Nickal just wants to see him lose.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this massive fan base that they think Bo Nickal has.
It's the Unks like DC and Chael. They do tricks on it. Oh, Bo Nickal is the best. He's the NCAA, champion. This guy's next up. He got fraud checked. This guy's not good. People want to see him lose.
Dare I say, this matchup, Rodolfo Vieira might be a little bit of a tricky matchup. Bo Nickal,
I agree.
Another well-rounded guy, a little bit more experience, grizzled vet. This might be a little bit more than Bo Nickal can chew. This might be a bigger bite.
Rodolfo Vieira is good.
Yeah, Rodolfo Vieira may be an unk at 36 years old, but he's a crafty vet. He's a well-rounded guy. He can hang everywhere. I think Bo Nickal still has like the grappling advantage, but in the striking, if he can stuff some of the takedowns and make it kind of ugly, we've seen Bo Nickal quit before, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it again.
It's kind of like the train, with Bo Nickal quitting. Like Bo Nickal quit, and it's like the Anderson Silva leg break. Anderson Silva broke his leg on Chris Weidman, and then Chris Weidman broke his leg later in his career. It's the same thing with quitting. Bum Nickal quit against Reinier de Ridder, and then Reinier de Ridder just quit against Brendan Allen. He's kind of got that curse, and I think Bo Nickal's he's super overrated, and I'm gonna go with Rodolfo Vieira on this fight. I think, like you said, he's the crafty vet, he's the unk, and I think he's gonna give Bo Nickal some adversity.
Yeah, I have to agree. Bo Nickal's striking looks so damn awkward. Like it just doesn't. It looks like he watched like a striking class from a YouTube video, and then he hit the heavy bag a couple times, and then he went into the ring and tried to execute the same thing. Like he doesn't, which obviously because he's a wrestler, he just doesn't look polished on the feet at all. And he's so super inexperienced with only 8 fights, but yeah, I don't know, man. His striking is just not great.
Yeah, honestly, there's another fight on this prelim that should be over Bo Nickal, and that's Roman Kopylov, Russian guys, versus RoboCop, dude. This is a good fight.
Yeah, great fight. Kopylov got his legs chopped off by Paulo Costa.
What a fraud check.
Did not look really impressive in that performance. Paulo Costa kind of Paulo Costa destroyed him. I'm not gonna lie. Paulo Costa looked damn good in that fight. And Gregory Rodriguez, super tough, good everywhere. When you're going into a Gregory Rodriguez fight, there's going to be some blood spilled.
He just had that great
And
knockout too.
yeah, yeah, definitely. If Roman Kopylov could get it done just with like a slight speed advantage, you know, I'm going to go with Roman Kopylov via decision, to be honest.
Do you think that we're building a RoboCop hype train right now? Do you think that if he beats, because this is obviously his shot at the rankings, but do you think there's that real hype there?
Yeah, no. If he gets into the rankings, there's some real hype. We're talking about Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop versus Hamza Chimaev. No, okay. No, but yeah, there's some hype around his name. There's some buzz.
Yeah, that could be a good fight because middleweight has kind of slowed down recently. It's not the best that it could be.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of entertaining matchups that you could have made with DDP. And then DDP lost, and then there was like a lot of like entertaining matchups. Like we could have thought like, RDR, and then RDR loses.
Yeah.
And then it's like now we kind of just look at the title picture and you're like, what do we do? Okay, Fluffy Hernandez versus Hamza Chimaev. It's like, okay, that could be a really fun fight, but it just feels kind of like Hamza Chimaev is the guy that's just gonna run through everyone. Nobody really has much of a chance.
Yeah, he has the potential to go on a generational run right now. And it sucks because, like you said, DDP and RDR lost, and those were the guys in the division with the most interesting matchups. And, DDP was kind of nearing GOAT status. Had he beat Hamzat Chimaev, he would be top 5 pound for pound right now and be in GOAT talks. But he lost, and now the division's in a very tricky spot where it needs to rebuild itself. And, this fight could be good to add some hype to the division, but it's just middleweight could be better, man. It just could be so much better.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like potential. It's just sometimes like the fighters come to the fight night and they just don't deliver to what we expect them to deliver. Um, but that just happens. Sometimes it's just not your night. I want to see like there's some matchups that I want to see like in middleweight still. Like I want to see a Sean Strickland
Versus
Hamza
Fluffy.
Chimaev match. Like I want,
Oh.
or yeah, versus Fluffy. I want to see. I want to see that Fluffy versus Hamza Chimaev is going to be fun. Both really good at jiu-jitsu, grappling, whatever. Fluffy versus Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland versus Hamza. Then you got like, dare I say, maybe like a Israel Adesanya Paulo Costa rematch? Question mark. Could be entertaining. Or like I don't know, like a Brendan Allen going up against Israel Adesanya, or I don't know.
I think
Who knows?
you're pushing Izzy too high up here. Brendan Allen's got more potential than Izzy right now, and let's face it, Izzy's next fight's probably going to be his retirement.
Yeah, we just need like Izzy is just like kind of a name that we could use to like leapfrog somebody else off at this point. So that's why I'm saying that. But yeah, there's some ways that we can make the middleweight division great again.
Do you know what is great that has been made great by Dana White is the prelims on this card. We've already talked about 2 pretty hype prelims, but can we talk about the greatest fight of all time? The biggest fight in the history of the business. ERIN Blanchfield versus TRACY Cortez, man.
Yeah. On our projectors. Yeah, what can I say about this fight? Yeah, it's gonna be great, dude. It's gonna be fire. Yeah, dude. 13-2 beats 12-2. ERIN Blanchfield is winning. That's all I know about the women's division.
Coming back to actual good prelims, Malcolm WELLMAKER's on the undercard of this fight. Dude, do you think he's gonna blow off the roof of MSG?
Yeah, he's gonna beat Cody Haddon.
Who does what
That's
he?
all I say.
Who does what he did? Who's the guy he just beat? Chris Motino?
Wasn't he supposed to fight Alexander Topuria?
I heard rumors of that, but I think it was just like a fan-made matchup.
Dang, because that would have actually been a really dope matchup.
Topuria's fighting on the Qatar card after this.
Yeah, I guess it would have killed both, like either one of their hype trains. Like whoever loses kind of kills their hype a little bit.
Yeah.
So kind of makes sense why they didn't do it, but It would have been a fun fight.
Dude, bantamweight's got
But yeah,
some rising contenders right. Bantamweight's such a good division. That's why Merab's the GOAT. But
yeah,
like Peyton Talbot's, making his come up right now.
yeah. It's gonna be really great. We just need more victims of to feed Marab. So
For his 10
the
title
more
defenses.
contenders, yeah. I already said, Marab gets 10 title defenses. I'm getting a Georgian flag tattooed on me. So
we can quote you on this if this happens.
yeah. Oh God. Oh no, I didn't even want to make that bet. That's just a horrible bet. But yeah, I love Marab, so I might have to do it for the fans. So
It's gonna happen. This card is probably the best UFC card that we've had in a while. Definitely has potential to be card of the year. I mean, what's card of the year right now? Like 317 or the Miami card?
yeah. No, this is card of the year. It's not even close.
Yeah, like even just the matchups alone, not even like the fight results. But is there anything else do you think is worth talking about on this card?
Yeah, of course, dude. Angela Hill versus Fatima Sai. No, if you want to make unlimited money, you bet on Bison versus Sakai coming up. Keep your eyes peeled for that fight. It's gonna be a
Nah,
banger.
to be real, I would bet on Tursakayev because I heard that Eric Moquinho got paid to throw the fight. Yeah, I heard there was 70 grand thrown around, and Eric Moquinho needed that money.
Yeah, you're talking about early prelim guys. Yeah, that's life changing money. So.
Yeah. For today's episode, I'm the bad guy. My co-host, the worst guy. Any final words?
No.
All right, guys. Until next time. Peace.